Hi, everyone. Christine Harrington, the Savvy Sales Lady.
And I'm Simon White, sales trainer and coach from the UK.
And we have a special guest today, Randy Chaffee. And I have known Randy, what's it been, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I think at least probably, maybe a little longer.
Yeah, like Simon and I, we followed each other on LinkedIn and other social media. And what I have always loved about following Randy, now, Randy, I'm going to say something here because I've noticed this transition, this transformation in you over the last couple of years. And I really want you to talk about that. But I also want you to tell everyone what you do and what is your specialty in selling. Because if you follow this guy, I'm telling everybody to follow this guy because his LinkedIn posts are really good. He has his own podcast and he is a trade show master. Am I right about that, Randy?
Well, I don't know if I've quite reached master status, but I've only been doing it 4 decades, so I've got some time yet.
Okay. Well, everyone, I want you to meet Randy. And Randy, what people really want to know these days is how to stay positive with all this transition that's happened over the last year and a half.
Well, thank you, Christine and Simon. It's a pleasure to be on. I've been looking forward to chatting with you guys. Like you said, Christine, I've known you for several years now. I followed Simon, I don't know, a few months ago is all probably, but enjoy what you do, Simon. So it's always a pleasure to chat with people that are like-minded and like-hearted and understand this incredible, I call it a game because it's not a game from a standpoint of playing games with people, but it's a game because it's something I love and something I enjoy to do. And so I refer to getting up, suiting up every day. And some people say, get up and go to battle. I like to choose to say, let's get up and go play the game, right? Because some people said that after 4+ decades, when are you going to retire? And I said, why in the world would I do that? I'm having more fun now than I ever have. And so, but you ask about positivity, and the easiest way for me to answer that, Christine and Simon, is why not? I mean, who wants to be negative every day? And I know it's easy to get that way, especially, I remember the day, March 17th last year. So we're at basically a year out.
St. Patrick's Day last year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I was in an airport in Tulsa, Oklahoma, trying to get home from a sales meeting. And because as a rep, I'm an independent manufacturer rep. So I rep numerous products in the building components industry. And so I was out to a sales meeting. And the funny part of this is we all went to the sales meeting, even though everybody, including management at this manufacturer, started talking about maybe we shouldn't because of what was going on.
With COVID-19?
Exactly.
Okay.
And because we're also old warrior road school kind of guys, we're all going, no, we're coming because we want to be together. We want to go have some Cabernets and some steak at night and hang out and be buds, right? I mean, because that's what we do. And so I remember going to the airport after that meeting. And the first thing I remember is walking in and there's nobody there. I mean, nobody there. And I'm thinking, I try to eat right and walk and try to stay in reasonably decent shape. And I'm thinking we had the invasion of the body snatchers and I didn't make the cut. I mean,
they wouldn't take you, huh?
they wouldn't take me. And so I'm watching the big screens in the airport and you remember the world's ending. I mean, it's like, nobody knows. And so kind of short story of this is on that plane for the next 2 trips, I went from Tulsa to Atlanta back to Fort Myers, Florida. And I spent writing on my iPad the whole time, trying to figure out how to adapt to this thing because I didn't know it was going to last as long as it did. But as an old school kind of road warrior guy, 2 or 3 weeks seemed like forever, right? Little did I know it was going to be months and then a year or more. But so that's how I really started down this new road, or the new Randy, or I call it the hybrid amazing, because that's kind of the little thing that I coined for myself to try to teach myself to be better at what I do and better in today's world, I guess, if that makes sense.
So what's your, we refer to it as pivoting, I think is probably might be the term, but what have you done differently then over the last sort of year since March the 17th?
A lot of things, Simon. And for example, used to be I would send texts all day long. I send texts now, but probably 75% of them are virtual or videos. If I was going to send you a text as a customer, used to be I'd say, hey Simon, did you get the sample? Hope it looked good. Let me know, whatever.
Yeah.
Now I would click this little button and I would talk to you, right?
Brilliant.
Yeah. And Simon, it's Randy. Hope things are well. And if I remember something about their kids' softball game last night, whatever, hope Christy's game went well. By the way, did you get the quote? The sample should be there tomorrow. Could we talk next week? Any questions? Boom.
Yeah, fantastic.
Same thing with emails. I'd send emails with video. So I got BombBomb, and I'm getting paid nothing by BombBomb, so I'll say BombBomb. But to allow me to have that embedded in the email. Yeah. Because if as you're well aware, probably more than I, if you send them as a PDF, people have to click and open it and wait. And so my thumbnail's there, they click, and the two things that I found is you and I are talking, we're nodding, we're smiling, we're literally communicating, right?
Yeah.
When you send obviously a text or an email, you can read that in any different way. It doesn't have the same impact, but more importantly, in my industry, nobody was doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, zero. So it stood out, right?
Yeah.
And then I started liking this virtual thing. So then I said, you know what? I'm going to start doing more social media work because I can't travel. So I started doing walk and talks with just, trying to do some family stuff, but also just some motivational, inspirational stuff. So I wanted people to know me, not just Randy, the rep that wants to sell you something, but who is this goofy guy? And so I started doing walk and talks, as I call them, mainly because I can't walk and talk and chew gum. So I just did walk and talk. But so I started chatting about just stuff that popped in my head. Sometimes I'd be walking and just grab the phone and do a minute and a half. I mean, one day a song popped in my head, Simon, and it just clicked. And I just started talking about what that song meant in my mind, right? And then I started doing a lot of videos. I was telling Christine before you popped on, I think I did 2 or 3 videos. I had a live show just before this, about an hour ago, my own show. So I took that time to do 2 or 3 product videos. So we do a lot of LinkedIn posting or social media in general, but LinkedIn's a little more my go-to because I'm a business-to-business guy. And then started my own show to my industry, because if I can't be out there for a while seeing you as my customer, you can still see me, as opposed to just hearing my voice or getting a phone call. And so there's been a major change in the way I do my business over the last year. And it all stemmed from the fact that, Simon and Christine, I think I knew that I wanted to do some force multipliers prior to this. I knew I had to, literally I would see myself sitting in the hotel bar because it had to be, because I was there last night, the same one, only a different city, right? You know how it is, you just going. Mm-hmm. And I said, I've got to find a better way to be in front of more people, but still communicate with everybody in maybe 98% as effective. Because I don't think there's anything as good as you and I going for a burger and a beer, right? That's still the best. But if I can't do that, how can I do it the next best? And so that was the pivot I made. And it was pretty major change from the old school way that I do things. So.
That's fantastic. I really, really love the fact you've embraced the video messaging. And have you seen a sort of increase in traction by sending those personalized videos to people? Do you get much response? Do people tell you that they appreciate them? How does that compare to what you used to do with a cold, a sort of a bland kind of email or text message maybe?
Simon, great question, and very much so. People will always respond back to a virtual text or email. Number one, because they'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
But then after they started seeing it from me on a regular basis, the funny thing that what told me that it really worked is I started having customers send me their own back. Now that means it works, right? Yeah. And so yes, I did. I think you do get more engagement from customers. And the funny thing is, you wonder sometimes, like with my live stream podcast I do, you sometimes wonder how much traction does it really get, for sure at times. But I know that it works because I'll run into people, not so much literally right now, obviously, even though I'm starting to travel more. I'm working on a lot of flights and things coming up in the next 2-3 months right now. But when I talk to people, they'll say things like things that they would have not heard if they wouldn't have watched my show. Or they'll remember something I said, or they'll bring something up. So I think a lot of things you have to do is, if you believe in it, you just keep doing it and keep doing it right, adapt and change as you go. And that's what we came out of this, this whole pandemic thing. Business, I had a great 2020. Now, part of that was because I wasn't going to allow it to be anything but great. But also, in fairness, my industry, which is the construction industry, was very strong, and so we didn't really miss a beat. We still had to learn how to do things differently. We had I had customers that it wouldn't matter whether I necessarily wanted to fly to see you or not. You just simply said, "Well, you're not coming in, right? We don't want you here. We'll talk, we'll chat, we'll video, we'll do whatever." But so there was a major pivot on both sides. And I think the one thing that I've thought about, and I talk to some guys all the time about this, if you didn't learn from this is a great opportunity to learn something new. So you can always, I'm a big believer in win piles, and I believe in virtual win piles, and you keep throwing stuff on the win pile all day long. And that can be personal wins, it can be health and fitness wins, it can be business wins, because I have a belief, maybe goofy, but that wins don't know the difference from each other. They just like to compound with each other. So a win is a win is a win, right? So the more wins you build, if I call you, if I sent you a video or a text and just said something that made you feel good or smile, that's a win for me too, right? So you get to throw that on the win pile, and that just makes me want to go do something else to win in whatever aspect of life. So
I love that. And I was just as you were saying about the win pile, and I've never heard it described that way. I was just thinking to myself whether I should just get a little box in my office, and every time I get a win, just write it down on a note and put it in the box. And then once a month or something, just go through and just look at how many wins I had that month. Like you said, they could be little wins, could be personal, whatever. Is that what you do, or is it just a kind of a mental win pile?
I do it mentally. I call it the virtual win pile, and it's like an inverted sand through the hourglass, right? Yeah. And I, in my mind, I have this virtual coffee table, and I can see it in my head right now. And there's just this pile of wins sitting on there, and I just keep throwing a win on every time. And like I said, it could be, you haven't talked to Grandpa Robert in 7 months. Hey, Grandpa, how you doing? Just wanted to say, hey, that's a win, isn't it? Yeah, throw it on the win pile. And if you start every day with a win, and then you just start building from that every day, that's corny probably, but to me, it certainly beats the alternative of starting the day with, well, this is gonna be a crap day, right? I mean, that's the alternative, right? And it goes so against my nature that and it all comes along with too, Simon, with something I like to talk about a lot is engaging versus existing. See, so many people, and we all can fall into that, where you just exist every day. Why do you want to exist? You only got 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years of doing this, right? Why do you want to exist ever? I don't want to exist. I want to engage every day. So I look at it. If you get up in the morning, you stand in front of the mirror and you're going to go out and get coffee, throw a little water in your hair, or do whatever you're going to do before you walk out. Do you really look in the mirror? Some people probably do, and you shouldn't. You look in the mirror and go, you know what? I think I'm going to have a C day today. I'm going to be just average today. Maybe even a C minus, because I'm really not feeling it. You know, things pick up steam in the afternoon, maybe a C plus. No. Why don't you look in that mirror and go, you know what, Randy? You are going to be the best ever. And so a little thing I end my show with is I always tell people is make today your best day ever until tomorrow. That's something I end my show with, because why wouldn't you do that? And it's all about engagement, man. If you don't engage with people, engage with customers, engage with family, engage with everybody you're with. I mean, right now, there's nothing else in the world I want to be involved with other than talking to you and Christine, right? Yeah. So you should engage. I'm not just existing here. And I guess that's my point I'm trying to make, is I care about what you have to say and Christine has to say. I can tell you care what I have to say. So if you do that every day with everybody, man, you just keep tossing wins on all day. And fantastic. I don't know, corny probably, but.
No, it's not. A couple of things, Randy. I teach people to keep a success journal, so that just like your virtual win pile, I teach them every time they've had a win or a success, write it in a journal. And those days that they may want it to be a D day or C day, to pull out their journal and remind themselves of all the successes that they've had, to help them inspire themselves instead of always expecting everybody else to inspire them.
That is a great idea. And I like that, because it's easy to, I think in general, it's for a lot of people, it's easier to fall into a trap of negative than it is to bring yourself into a place of positive, right? So if things go a little crappy, it's easy to just go, it's just gonna be a garbage day. Well, like you said, read through that, get picked up, get excited, because all it takes is one little win to get back excited. That's all it takes. That's the beautiful thing with wins, right? Yeah. One loss can throw you down, but another win or two can bring you right back into the game again, right?
Yeah, and you said another thing, because I use Bomb too.
Okay.
In my newsletter, it's a Bomb video that I create, and then I have my article below it. But my prospecting, it took prospecting for me to a whole new level when I could send a video to a prospect so they could see me, hear me, and get to know me. And so many times, Randy, I think sales professionals miss the boat on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is an opportunity to show people who you are, and they can learn more about you, but they can see you interact and see how genuine, authentic, and how real you are. And the same with sending a video text. Now, that's something that I do with my clients. I send them a video text. But I got to tell you this story. Someone that I had inspired to leave his insurance job, I knew him in the insurance world because I was in the insurance world for 42 years, so I can relate to your 4 decades. When I started my own business, it inspired him to leave the insurance world and start his own business as a realtor. Well, in 2020, at, I want to say maybe April or May, he sent me a video text and he said, I mean, it just touched me. It touched me, Randy, to the point where it brought tears to my eyes. Really? And he said, "Hi, Christine." And he says, "I'm just, worried about my friends during this time. And I just wanted to send you this quick video and let you know that I'm praying for you. And please reach out if you need anything." And I was like, what?
Yeah, that's pretty impressive right there.
And I thought, such a nice thing to do. And he did that with all of his clients.
Mhm. Yep. It takes such little time, and it just made me think about when you said that about finding time, because we're all busy, and we're probably all think we're busier than we really are if we just think about what you're doing. Like, I walk a lot. I've had guys say, how do you get all that time a day to walk in? Well, there's 24 hours a day, so I mean there is time. But secondarily, I talk to customers, I video talk to customers, I do walk and talks, I do stuff. So I mean, I'm not just walking, but sometimes I do, and I just listen to a podcast, or I just listen to some jazz, or I listen to some upbeat Queen and get myself cranked up, whatever the case may be. But in the evening, an easy way that I've found to stay engaged, and we're talking back to social media for a minute, is I've had some folks ask me, some friends and people in the industry and out of the industry, but how do you find content? Because I have a girl that works for me that does a lot of my stuff for me. But they said, how do you find content? I said, well, you got a large customer base. When I'm having a glass of Cabernet and listening to some jazz at night, I'm cruising the internet, not to look at jokes and do all that. I mean, I say I don't look at a joke here and there, but I'm looking for what are my customers posting so that I can share that with them, for them, right? You share that, that's automatic 20, 30, 40 posts a day sometimes, that I don't have to make up content. I have to go looking for content. And it does two things, in my opinion. One, it shows that customer you're engaged with them, and you're helping them. And the other thing it does is it builds credibility for you, the person posting, because if I'm posting a post now for somebody in Montana, and then 20 minutes later, a guy in Indiana, and then one in Florida, and one, all of a sudden, the image is one, Randy's everywhere, and Randy knows everybody, right? Whether I did or didn't, it still creates an image of that, right? And I don't post, I occasionally I'll share something I like, even if I don't know them too, but generally I make sure that I do that for my customers, right? To keep them engaged. So it's not that hard to do that. And it's the same way, quick story, using video. I got a good customer of mine in Montana, and I hadn't talked to him for a while. I'm waiting for some lunch, takeout, and I just grabbed my phone. I set it against my glass. I hit start. I never said a word. I just went, "Sir, I love you," as a customer, right? Hit it. So he saw my wine glass because he likes wine. That's it. Total silence, nothing else. 3 minutes later, he calls me. I said, dude, it's just little corny, weird, off the cuff stuff you can do. But the only thing I would say about any of that stuff is don't do it just to do it.
Well,
do it because you're genuine. Right?
Yeah, and you've got to know the person.
Yes.
You wouldn't do this to a new prospect. In other words,
I'm weird, so I might, but no, you're right. How about I just ordered lunch. I have no money. Could you buy something, please?
Yeah. I like that too. Well, you said something else that rang a bell in my mind, which, and that is, I do a lot of what you just said. So I watch YouTube channels, I read articles, I read books, not so much to get ideas, The other thing too, this is the silliest thing. I was watching a YouTube channel of a doctor, and he was talking about narcissism. And all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, this would be a great article, not on narcissism, but what he talked about, people think that when they speak bluntly, that they're being rude. And he is saying blunt is not being rude. Blunt is just being direct and being clear in your message. And I thought that would be a great article for sales.
Right.
So I'm the weirdest recipe show I was watching. I came up with an idea. I mean, you just don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know what that is to be to be an opportunity hunter, right? If you're constantly looking for opportunities, you're constantly open for opportunities. They're out there all the time. I think we miss them all the time if we don't go like you just did, because you're open to opportunities, Christine. You saw that YouTube as an opportunity to grab something and to use. And so many times we get wrapped up in I kind of equate it to, you buy a car that you've never had before. What do you see starting the next day? You see that car everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And it's not because all of a sudden people said, "Oh, geez, Randy bought this car. I'm going to follow Randy the leader and buy this car." It's just that now it's in my head and I'm looking for that car, right? Subconsciously. And I think it's the same thing with opportunities. If you're an opportunity seeker, you find them. That didn't mean they weren't ever there, or some magic just happened. It's just that you're now seeing them and can make a decision to either move on that opportunity, or it's a perfectly logical step to say, no, that one doesn't fit me. But to miss it because you weren't looking, who knows how many you've missed? We've all missed thousands probably, right?
Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, it's weird when I do a training course on one particular topic. It's weird that the next half a dozen inquiries I get all relate to that same topic. So it's like I spent most of last year training people how to use LinkedIn, and it was just like one after the other. It was all maybe I was just looking for LinkedIn opportunities all the time.
Right.
Weird, like using your car analogy there. It's weird how that's what happens.
Randy,
it does.
Randy,
Yes.
Simon has he's excellent at training on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
If you know anyone that needs LinkedIn training, send them to Simon. He's excellent on it.
I will do that. I will absolutely do that.
It's amazing. Since lockdown, prior to lockdown, my most popular training course was always appointment setting or telesales via the phone. That was always the most popular. Then all of a sudden, as soon as lockdown happened, everyone wanted to start doing social selling. So it was just LinkedIn. I've got more LinkedIn this week, and it's just
nice. Yeah. Well, so the theory I have, and I'm sure you would both agree, is social selling. That's probably the biggest thing that come out of this whole lockdown scenario is we had to learn some new tricks.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that came out of 2020, making me better than I probably went into any year ever, is not the adaptions that I've made, because I made a lot. We've talked about a bunch of them. But even more importantly than that is that I've learned to be an adapter, if that makes sense. I've learned to expect change, accept change, welcome change, and understand that the complete change to the way I've had to do things for the last several months is so different than what I was used to, that I can change anything now. Just bring it, whatever it is.
And see, that's the transition I noticed in you, Randy, because you, and I don't mean this in a negative way, you were in the shadows of social media. Then all of a sudden I start seeing Randy being more out there on social media, and then more out there on social media, and the videos, and then the podcast. And I thought, oh my gosh, finally, we've got Randy.
I'm not sure the world is ready for that, but there we are.
But it was so brilliant to see you go through this transition. And now here you are, a voice in social media to help people.
Yeah, it is something that all you have to do is decide that you're willing, as Simon had the word pivot. Once you decide that pivoting is okay, once you decide that it's almost like this new me, if you will, it's grown legs, and I don't know that I can stop it now, because I love what I do, and I love the ability, and I really enjoy. I mean, I've got a couple projects I'm working on that I'm not really open to, not necessarily chat about, but some things that I want to come out with I really enjoy the idea of being able to maybe help some other people, because we've all had mentors in our lives, and I'm no different. And I don't know that I'm necessarily that brilliant, but 4+ decades again, I just stuff rubs off. You just learn stuff just by being there. And I got the old road warrior thing down pretty good. I mean, I was very good at that process. But I feel like in the last year, I've gained a lot of abilities in hybriding that into a new way to augment each other. Because I'm not a believer. I owe the name. Like I said, I coined the phrase Randy 2.5 hybrid amazing that I use on a lot of things. And I said amazing because there's nobody believe normal, because I'm not normal and never was, and probably never will be. So, but who doesn't want to be amazing, right? Let's get up in the morning and say, I'm going to be amazing today. The hybrid part came back when this whole thing started, and as we all did, I was listening to podcasts and reading. I probably ordered 50 books on how to be more socially active and all these things. And there's phrases that was the old normal and the new normal, and people way more experienced in the world of social media use new normal on a regular basis. So I'm not going to trample on that one ever. But if I wanted to have my own little idea, but I started hearing people talk about one of two ways. I can't wait till we go back to the old. I can't wait till we go back to the old. Well, you've been waiting. How long are you going to wait? A year, 2 years, 10 years? I mean, and then you had the other side that was, I'm going to get into this new normal thing of all video, all the time, never leave my home and my little office studio again, ever. And neither one of those made sense to me.
Right.
So to me, it was a hybrid, and that's where the hybrid came into play. Is somewhere I need to hybrid the old and the new, and be in a position to do the new, if you will, for as long as I have to, 100%. Go back to doing some of the old when I can, but always hybrid the two together to augment each other, if that makes sense. And so that's what I've been really working on.
It's a balance, Randy.
Yep.
Yeah, you're creating a balance between the two worlds. So
yes. And I think if you try to live in either world, just for me anyway, in really in my industry, you can't live in either world 100%. It's got to be it's got to be a pivot, as Simon said, a transitioning, literally day by day, hour by hour, week by week, month by month. There'll be times coming up in the next few months where I'll be traveling a lot more than I used to for a year. But I can augment in between travels with doing all these other things that I've learned to do. So that's why I say 2021 is, I've never been more prepared for a year ever. And
now, Randy, are you still going to do as many trade shows as you did before?
If they have them, yes.
Okay. Have they started rolling them out in your industry yet?
Yes, slowly.
Okay.
First one is in June in Cincinnati, and then the next one, I believe, after that is one in August in Las Vegas, and then there's one in October in Tampa. So they are starting to come back, and I know my industry is a little different than some industries, probably from the standpoint that we still are I don't say a bit, more than a bit, of the good old boys club, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we're bro hugs and donuts and coffee in the morning, and pizza and pop at lunch, and a burger and a brew and after dinner, and game of golf. There's still a lot of need in my industry, more than some industries probably, to be there in person, right? And to greet and meet and do those things. So to answer your question, as they come back, I'll do them. I mean, I have no fear of doing them. I have no pretense that I'm not going to do them. So yes, as they come, I'll be there and kind of looking forward to them, because I've enjoyed my new Randy, I guess. But I mean, I guess that's what I'm gonna call myself, the new Randy. I've enjoyed it, but I'm well ready to actually be with some customers and have a burger and a pop or something, you know.
Well,
Excellent.
Randy, we're out of time. I'm going to let Selling. Do you have one last question?
I don't, other than just absolute pleasure to speak with you. Absolutely. You know, just, yeah, thank you. Yeah, really, really great to speak with you, Randy. Thank you.
Well, Simon, likewise, and it's a pleasure to actually meet you now. And I'd love to stay in touch. And if anything I can ever do again, just holler. I mean, and if I know some people that want to really get into some LinkedIn stuff, I will definitely send them your way.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well,
You're welcome,
we would love to have you back on, Randy, in the future. So everyone,
Anytime.
yeah, everyone just remember this. Oh, before we go, hold on, before we go, Randy, how can people follow you?
They can follow me. They can, my website is easy. It's ibuyfromrandy.com.
I
See, I was
buy
branding
from,
before.
what is it?
I buy from Randy. ibuyfromrandy.com. I mean, why wouldn't you?
And on LinkedIn, under your name.
LinkedIn under my name, Facebook under my name, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and who am I forgetting? Instagram, all under my name. Just look up.
Okay, is your podcast under your name too?
That's you can find it there, but that's Building Wins Live. If you go to hashtag Building Wins, it'll be Building Wins. Excuse me. The title of it is Building Wins Live, but it's if you go to YouTube or Facebook, you'll find Building Wins, and we do every Tuesday for sure. And then I think I got 10 total in March, so more than I need. But
okay, well,
we're gonna
salespeople.
have you someday too.
Yep. So everyone, follow Randy, and be sure to reach out to Simon if you need LinkedIn training, and he is really the master on that. And just remember this, everyone, sales is a journey, not a quick trip around the block. And Simon and I will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.